Welcome to your section on business meetings, making the most of your time. As you know, we spend a lot of time in meetings, and sometimes we feel like we can't get our own work done because we're always in meetings. Well, I'm going to share with you an experience that I had of running a meeting. I was not wanting to run the meeting. Someone told me I was now chair of this meeting and would be meeting once every 2 weeks for about an hour. And as you know, that's extra things for us to do. But I decided if I was going to do it, I might as well make my time worthwhile. And the approach I took was first to decide the purpose of the meeting. And here I had to get clarity because remember, it wasn't the meeting that I called. So I got the clarity, and once I had the clarity, I decided to make that purpose clear in the invitation to all of the members of this committee. So clarity goes a long way towards getting things done. Then I decided to invite agenda items, get them involved. When we play well with others, we try to ask their opinions. And of course, nobody responded because it would be extra items for them to do on top of everything they were already doing. Having no takers, I created an agenda as best I could because I'd never even been to one of these meetings. But I created an agenda of items we would cover that day. Being new to the situation, I was in a unique opportunity of being able to set the tone. And I set the tone because often in meetings there are conflicts we don't know. People might have been fighting for years over certain issues. I didn't know any of that. So my tone that I chose to set was appreciation. Because appreciation goes a long way. Appreciating them taking their time out to do this, to meet this common goal. And finally, I found it important to take your own minutes. And as you're taking the minutes, this doesn't have to be hard. I used my agenda and wrote notes. But the key to taking your own minutes is getting people to commit to the actions that they've proposed. And it doesn't have to be the person who proposed it. Simply ask the question, ask the leader, that sounds like a great idea. Who would be the best person to do that? And how long would it take? So getting the action, the person, and the date is critical to feeling like you are running an effective meeting. And then finally, as people digress, and they will, they think of other things, you as the leader will decide to redirect them to the original purpose or the item agenda. And we can do this gently and lovingly, kind of Covey style, by just saying, wow, that sounds like a great idea. Let's put that on deck for next time. Now, about this item on which we are focused. And why am I sharing all of this with you? Because in this meeting that I was thrown into, it was so effective that people actually came up to me a couple meetings later and said, wow, I actually feel as though we're getting something done. This has been the most rewarding experience. If people feel they are not spinning their wheels and they are moving in a direction and actually getting things done, they will be a lot more cooperative in your next meeting because it doesn't feel like a colossal waste of time.
So, how do you have a super effective meeting? Well, it begins with the minutes. So, you want to type your minutes, and I'm so pleased to see the sample that the book offers is finally updated because these are the type of minutes that I typed. I used my agenda to take my notes, and then I kept that format to type the minutes. And the reason is, well, you know the reason. You've received those traditional minutes that are paragraph after paragraph of droning on and on. How how much of that do you read? Really? None of it. None of it. Because nothing's standing out, and it requires a great deal of time and effort to sift out the information. But if you go vertically, just as you've been doing with your memos, things stand out. So what do you put in the bullets, though? Well, what you want to do is think about if someone misses the meeting, what is important for them to get so they can proceed and everybody is working together towards the same goals. Those items need to go in your minutes, as well as any action items and the people who said they would do them and the deadlines. So now, because you're putting these very specific things in your minutes, you want to be sure to share those minutes with the action people first. In my case, and you kind of have to determine if it's a big project, you want to share it right away, like the day after the meeting. But in my case, most of what I would share with the action people 3 to 5 days before the next meeting. That gives them a chance to do what they said they were going to do, or to get back to you and say, uh-oh, can't do it in time. Please move it as an item to be done at a later date, so they can negotiate. Saves a lot of embarrassment. You do not want to get in the meeting and say, so-and-so said they would have this done today, and then they have to say, I forgot, or it isn't done. That will ruin that beautiful tone that you have set with everyone working together. You don't really want to embarrass anybody. So share with the people who have designated themselves as action people. Share the minutes with them first so they know, hey, I got to get this together, or they can contact you. And then, of course, you can share with everybody else and invite new ideas. Good.
When you're a participant, what do? Well, it turns out you have a lot more power than perhaps you know. You can do much the same. If it becomes apparent to you that the leader is not redirecting to the agenda and is allowing people to go off on tangents, you can gently nudge people back to the particular item you're on. An easy way to do that is to ask questions Covey style. In other words, restate what you think their point is, and then try to work it back to the point that you're supposed to be on, and ask them, is that something for this point, or is that something we need to address in a later meeting? And you can still affect the tone. You can still appreciate everyone taking time to get together. You can still appreciate the goal that has been set forth and the benefit. Nobody calls a meeting unless they think it's going to improve things. So you can still appreciate that. And certainly, if people have ideas that you think really will improve things, take time to appreciate them. On your own agenda, you can write down those action people, and especially any parts that you have committed to take action, and make your own deadlines for that and notes on what you are going to do. And then, later in the week, if you don't get minutes, you can use your agenda to generate new ideas. And this doesn't have to take long. 20 minutes before the meeting, you can sit down and review your old agenda or the minutes that were submitted to you, and just think of the new ideas that have come, new things that have happened, new material that's come your way, and what you can bring to the meeting. So, creating great meetings will create the team you desire, no matter what role you're in. The first thing you want to remember is your purpose and gaining clarity. Even if you are not the leader, you can certainly ask the questions, as long as you are asking them with the right tone of voice and with the right intention. I want to make good use of my time, and I want to help us all feel like we're being successful with the goal. Then you will use your agenda and your minutes, make them work for you instead of just being an extra thing. by listing your actions, your people, and your dates. Listening and appreciating others, in other words, respect. So the listening skills you've already acquired doing Cubby style, some modification of the talking stick, will go a long way in helping the other people in the meeting feel respected. If you feel other people are not listening and respecting because they don't know, they haven't had this class, you can stand up and reiterate what you think that other person is saying and start setting the whole tone of the meeting. Appreciating wherever you can that they've taken their time out, or they did a good job, or they had a great idea. Every chance you get, as you appreciate people, you will see more of that happening in your workplace. The things that you do appreciate will start appearing more and more often. We can't change people, but we sure can affect them. You can also use the new skill or the new thing you've heard, which is the win-win, to help resolve conflicts that seem to be cropping up in these meetings. Win-win means something better than either one of them could dare to hope for. So it doesn't mean compromise. Compromise means everybody has to give up a little bit. But you can pose the question, how can this person get the desired results they need, and this person also get the desired results? And let people put their brains together for that. In short, it's just like I said before. When one apple starts changing, the whole body of people start changing. I'm fond of telling my students that the government is nothing more than the people who make it up. And your workplace is nothing more than the people who make it up. Yes, you say, but that one person over there is making it horrible. That's the bad apple. As you focus on what you can control, your own behavior, your own attitude, your own thoughts, as you focus on that and you become the good apple, everything else will be affected. One person changes in a relationship. The relationship has to change. There. I hope you have found this useful, and I look forward to hearing how you have implemented it in your lives.